What's going on, beautiful people? Mr. Stephen Harris here, and today we're going to unravel a mystery that has been puzzling the entire real estate world, whether you are an investor, a home buyer, or a home seller. Has the Texas housing market already crashed without us even noticing? Or are we witnessing something totally different altogether? Also, if you stick around for a little bit, I'll teach you how to save about $80K on your mortgage and how to win in these current market conditions. Let's dive into it. Here's a shocker. The total value for US housing has risen by 5%. That's over $2 trillion despite the Fed's attempt at raising interest rates to a point where it can kind of make prices flat. Now, it is not as crazy as it was a couple of years ago, but the fact that we have experienced any growth at all is astonishing. Now, if we zoom into just Texas saw a 1.2% growth, which isn't nothing, but it's still growth. Now, we all know that housing is more unaffordable than it's ever been. Despite that, Texas saw a 7% growth in total closed sales and a 20% growth in the number of homes available, according to Redfin. Now, that doesn't sound like we're experiencing a crash. That actually sounds like a healthy and sustainable market. Now, to understand Texas real estate, you have to understand that most times no two market areas are the same. So Redfin says that the Dallas area saw a 16% growth in its market, while the Austin area saw a 3% decline. San Antonio was struggling, Houston was struggling, but the El Paso area seemed to have still experienced some growth. Now, that's really important to know, because if you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in Texas, it really all depends on which part of Texas you're looking to do it in, because some parts are experiencing a decline while others are still experiencing massive growth. You need to know the nuances of each individual market to know where your money is going to be spent the best. Here in Austin, I saw blood in the streets, even though prices are still astronomically high. Now, consider this. The San Antonio-Austin corridor, it's expected to grow by 3 million people by the year 2050, making it bigger in population than Dallas and Houston, even though these two areas saw the most setbacks during the rise in interest rates. It begs the question, is this just a temporary setback or part of a deeper issue? Realtor.com says, we ain't seen nothing yet. They expect all of the major metros in Texas to experience some kind of decline in pricing. They have Houston losing about 4%, Dallas losing about 8%, and Austin, my home market, losing about 12% in the coming year. But are those estimates too extreme? Check this out. I just sold a house for $800K on the outskirts of Austin in Cedar Park. We sold it in about a week. Now, had this been a year or so ago, then it would have definitely taken me several months to sell that property. Now, we did a few key things different. We priced it competitively. We listened to the data, and we were conservative with our pricing. There was a house with a similar floor plan that sat for several months, while ours sold in a week. And there was another home in the same area that sold for $50K above the asking price. So this definitely makes me think that we are not experiencing a crash, and we may have even seen the worst of it, but it all depends on your particular circumstance. So what do the experts have to say about all this? i.e. a bunch of people at Texas A&M with PhDs who put together a 2024 real estate report. Now, their conservative estimate is that sales and prices statewide should remain flat. And we are actually seeing pre-pandemic levels of new construction being built. So that's adding to the inventory. And that should help prices not to go up too high. But will that cause prices to go down a little bit lower? I don't know. But it is nice that buyers have solid options, especially when it comes to new constructions. They are really seeing those new sales as being the catalyst for a healthy market over the next year. Now, for my first-time buyers and investors looking to buy a piece of Texas, here's a little bit of advice for you. Look into the smaller towns. Texas isn't experiencing the huge growth via relocation that it was over the past couple years. But what is happening is new corporations are coming, which means more employment, which means they're going to attract more talent and more population. One of the smart things I'm seeing these corporations do is they are buying in very small towns. Now, those towns are going to grow over the coming years, and the quality of life there is going to improve drastically. So now is the time to get in. Companies that made deals with Texas over the past 2 or 3 years are just now getting close to completing those projects. So the real estate market in those areas hasn't gone crazy yet. 2 of my favorite towns right now are Taylor, Texas and Killeen, Texas. Now, that's going to be another topic for another video, but one of the key ways to win is to know where you're investing in the Texas market. And right now, I think small towns are the way to go. Now, earlier in the video, I did say that no 2 market areas in Texas are the same. Now, that remains true, but when I look at the big 3, Austin, Dallas, and Houston, they are experiencing very similar signs. Austin, its average home price has grown by 1% year over year, and its average days on market is actually speeding up. Now, Dallas is going through a similar thing, 1% rise in its median list price, but the days on market are about the same as they've been for the past year, right around 60 days. Houston, more of the same. 1% rise in prices and a slightly accelerated housing market as far as days on market go. So that means homes are selling slightly faster and they're selling for a slightly higher price, which sounds very sustainable and very much not like a crash. Now, as we know, even though unemployment has gone up a little bit, consumers are still spending, people still have a lot of money in their savings account, and Texas itself just has not experienced this kind of perfect storm to bring about a crash. So, in my opinion, we've already seen the bottom, and it's only up from here. But I gotta be real here. I've been selling real estate in Texas for around 7 years, and I've mostly only known a market that is on the rise. Now, we definitely did see a decrease, but honestly, it's probably harder for me to tell if the market is going down or not. And the one thing I learned throughout these past few years of like crazy uncertainty is who actually knows what the future of the real estate market holds. Nobody. And right now I have clients shopping in the 500K range, right? And we recently got a house under contract for $75,000 under the asking price. Why? Because the demand for houses at that price in that area was so low that they were willing to take that decrease in price, but they still walked away with a ton of equity. While I have clients shopping in the mid 200s and they're seeing multiple offers. Why? Because the demand at that price range is a lot higher because of the rising interest rates. I have listings that are listed in the 300s and they've been sitting for more than 100 days. Why? Because the demand is a little bit lower and they need to adjust the price. They'll still walk away with a lot of equity, but sometimes sellers can hold on to those dollars a little too tightly and end up spending more money in the long run. And then there's the story of selling the 800K listing in 1 week. I think the moral to all of this is it's all relative. Real estate advice is a bespoke thing and it all depends on your specific market and your specific situation. But all of these things lead me to the conclusion that we are not in a crash and we will not see a crash. Will prices go any lower? I don't know. I hope not, but also if they do, we'll adapt. Here's a few ways that you can win right now in the current market, whether you're an investor, a home buyer, or a home seller. First off, home sellers, you gotta listen to the data. Look at what the sales say and price accordingly. And you have to also price conservatively and competitively. Inventory is growing. There's a lot more competition on the market. You have to keep that in mind and make sure that when a buyer is looking at your property, they see a deal and not somebody that's just looking to get over. Also, don't price high with the plan of getting negotiated down, because a lot of times you just end up holding the house for a lot longer and you spend even more money than you would have if you would have just priced it right the first time. For my investors and buyers, couple things you can do here. I told you at the top of the video that I would teach you how to save like 80K on your mortgage. Now, it's been found that those people that shop the interest rate can save about $84,000 over the life of the loan. So I saved you 84K. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Thank you. But how do you do that, right? You apply to more than one mortgage lender. Mortgage applications are a headache, but for 84K, I would say it's worth doing. You do more than one application, and then you take the deal that each one of those mortgage lenders is going to give you. You take it to the other one and say, beat it, beat it, beat it. And everybody kind of races to the bottom until you find yourself at the best possible deal you could get. And also, don't be afraid to walk away from a deal. Right now, we're in a type of market where you should not be overpaying for a home. Inventory is still low across the board, but it's rising. And more than likely, there is more opportunity out there for you. So take your time. Don't be in a rush. Don't be too thirsty, and walk away from the table if the deal isn't in your best interest. Sometimes you'll find that there's a better deal right around the corner. My last tidbit here before I get off my soapbox is time in the market beats timing the market every single time. In order to win the game, you gotta play the game. And if you sit on the sidelines for too long waiting for a crash to come, before you know it, you'll look up and it's already passed you by. Hopefully this video has been informative. My name's Stephen Harris. I'm a real estate broker and mortgage loan originator in the great state of Texas, and we have agents all over. And like I said, real estate advice is a bespoke process. So if you want somebody to look at your particular situation, reach out. We have agents all over this beautiful state that would love to talk to you about your situation and make sure that you're gonna win, whether you're buying, selling, or investing. All right, I'll see you guys on the next one. Appreciate you for sticking around this long. Peace.